Alright guys, it's ban list season. Isaiah and I got Logan Kite here. We're gonna go over this ban list with you. Effective on February 7th, so we got about 2 weekends with it. You ready to check this out, Logan?
Yes, Bandless actually I think does a lot of different things and that kind of shakes up the meta a little bit. It's the consistency of a lot of decks, so.
Alright. Our first card is Protos. I think we all saw this coming. They just very toxic card. And it gives Sword Soul leverage that it shouldn't have. The deck's still gonna be very good, it just doesn't make your opponent not able to play the game.
So I think this is more of a preemptive hit, to be honest. Like, yeah, Sword Soul did use this card, and it was very good in that deck. But I think the reason that this card actually ended up getting banned for sure is because of the Deskbot combo people were playing, as well as they were afraid of the Brave Tingy deck that is going rampant in the OCG right now. And that deck is very powerful and gets to Protos like 90% of the time, so I definitely think that was probably a big, like, a reason that they would decided to actually take the axe to the card for sure.
Understandable. Yeah, the Tinny deck's insane. Thankfully, we don't want to see it. How do you feel about Eva? This is insane. I didn't see this happening at all.
I was very surprised about this hit. I don't think Drytron was specifically that good. Maybe Konami's just tired of seeing the deck. I think the deck is still playable, however. And I think a lot of people will probably be surprised by that. But the main reason I think it's still playable is because A, you still have all your power plays, as well as you still have Scythe, right? Like Scythe, spoiler, is not banned, and it's very easy to search Drytron, as well as you can go different routes like Megalith or whatever. So I think the deck's still pretty strong.
Yeah, it just seems like it's going to cut a lot of consistency. I think if Scythe would have got banned, which I don't understand why it didn't, then maybe the deck would have been a lot worse. But I feel like the deck isn't really doing anything to the point where it needed this.
Well, one thing I will say about Eva that does change a lot about Drytron is it makes it extremely weak to Forbidden Droplets and Dark Lord No More. If they're not going for Scythe, obviously, with Dark Lord No More. But
if they don't get the Scythe, it just kind of makes the deck very vulnerable.
It makes ultimateness very, very bad, I think. And just the Heralds in general, because it doesn't allow one of your searches to become 3 negates. Which is just, it's a big hindrance of the deck. It just hinders that engine.
So we see Maxi still banned. I think that's going to make a lot of players happy and a lot of players upset. But I'm happy with it. I don't think that card needs to come off the ban list right now.
I think it should be unbanned, but...
We have Samorg. How do you feel about this?
I think Samorg, it was just, it was time. Like, I think whenever I saw the bird deck win the YCS, I just kind of assumed it was going to get hit very hard. I mean, yeah. I mean, Samorg was never used as, fairly, right? It was always used as, to floodgate your opponent or some crazy combos. Like, no one's actually playing the Samorg deck. So I definitely think that the card should have probably got hit.
I agree. And then I think is there anything else that's banned? Oh yeah, Imperial Orders banned. I think this is another card that is controversial, but it's a card that makes so many decks just stop playing the game. I just think it's an unfair card.
I'm not surprised. I think usually when Konami hears players complain enough about a card, they usually just take take it into their own hands and go ahead and get it out of the game. I don't think Imperial Orders should have been legal. I think spell cards are the most powerful cards in the game, and a card that just doesn't allow your opponent to play spell cards is just too good.
I agree with you. Going on to our limited cards, we got Destrudo. I think this is very cool. I think this is going to add something to the game. I don't know how it's going to be played, but just think it's going to be really fun.
I think Destrudo should have never got banned in the first place. The fact that it's legal, I think is very good. It allows, certain decks to make Baron, which is pretty cool. Um, and it also just like gives like decks like Dragon Link, right? Like an
Yeah.
extra little tool that's not like insane like LP.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how you felt Dragon Link's gonna be with this inclusion.
Yeah, this is an extender, tweener extender. It's great.
I think this is my favorite card that's coming back. Is 60 card decks are like my favorite thing, and like we don't have lawn mowing, but I think this will be fun, even though it'll probably be more played in different decks. But
I think the most
it's really cool.
I think the way you'll see Fairy Tale Snow the most, I think, is in stuff like Shadal's and decks that can send it very easily as an interruption, right? Like Shadal can send it to make Construct, and then they just randomly have a Book of Moon in their graveyard. Even if they only use it once, it should be enough value to like warrant playing it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a must-have in any deck that plays Shadal cards with Construct, not just like Eldritch cards, not Eldritch, Invoked cards. And then we have Astrograph Sorcerer, which I think is a very good card. I think it's definitely going to be played in Pendulum. I don't know if it fixes Pendulum, but I think the card's the same. I didn't see this coming off the list.
Yeah, I was saying that they could have like almost unbanned every single Pendulum card because it just literally doesn't matter as long as Electromite's banned.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely like Pendulums definitely need help. Half their cards shouldn't even be on the ban list. It's just Konami's terrified to bring them off because of the early 2018 and stuff.
What do you think about Lunalight Tiger?
Does nothing. The card shouldn't have been banned in the first place.
You don't think it'll be played in anything?
I mean, people will try, and it'll be really bad.
That's fair. And what do you think about the Recital Starling?
See, I was surprised that they hit this and the Samorg. If I was going to go after the deck, I would have just hit this right and left the rest of the tools. That's what I assumed they were going to do. But whenever I saw Samorg ban, I was like, okay, so that's what they hit on birds. And then I kept going, they hit Recital too, and I was like, wow. So I don't think the deck is very good with one Recital. I think it's playable, but
it's not going to be the powerhouse that it has been.
Right. They lose a lot of tools, and I wouldn't be surprised if birds survived the list and still were playable. But at the same time, right, like, why are you playing that deck over, like...
They're not going to be able to play through multiple interruptions and still get an unstoppable board.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they can still get 2 searches, right, but they don't get their third, so, like, if their hand isn't full of, like, level 1s, it's...
Yeah.
They can't really combo, so...
And then Monster Gate. Wish it was lawn mowing, but...
I mean, Monster Gate was a 3, right? This is a hit to 1.
Is it?
Yeah, Monster Gate was a 3, I believe.
I thought it was banned.
So,
oh, you're right, it is a 1.
Reason...
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, so I think the reason they did that was because of Snow and that level 10 FTK thing, I don't know what it's called, the mecha whatever guy, the level 10 that brings itself back. I think that was kind of like, oh, they're scared of Snow. Oh, as well as this is a thing, so let's go ahead and hit it.
Yeah, so this had to go down for Snow to come back.
Yeah, I don't think they probably could have left it at 3. I don't know.
Yeah, this card's very weird. I don't really like this card. This, I don't understand. Like, I don't...
I completely understand it.
You understand Pot of Desires being the one?
Yeah. So, okay. If we keep going through this list, you'll see certain things are getting hit. I think they're going to start trying to limit the consistency of decks. And the most played consistency card in the format that isn't Pot of Prosperities is Pot of Desires.
Correct.
Pot of Desires is played at 3 as a consistency card more than almost any other card in the format. So, they're trying to hit the consistency of these decks. So let's just hit all of them and hit Pot of Desires, right? Or hit a majority of them. That it makes sense, but I don't really like it. I like having 3 Desires, so.
Yeah. I like having consistency cards. Like, I want 3 Upstart back, but I understand what you're saying. Like, they're trying to lower the consistency of all the power decks. I hate to see this, because I don't like the semi-limited list. I think this is one of the only cards that should be on here. But, how do you feel about all these?
I mean, if you go through this, right, like, it's exactly what I said. Fusion Destiny at 2. They're trying to hit the consistency, but also they're still trying to keep the engine alive, right?
Yep.
Nadir Servant, same thing. I love seeing Circle and Scapegoat. I think they both could be a 3. I don't think it should be a problem. But Hero Lives is a huge one. I think this card's super powerful. I think it definitely gives heroes like, because the problem with heroes, right, is that they're super normal summon reliant.
Yep.
And Hero Lives is a super powerful card in those decks. I don't know if it helps heroes enough because then they lost to Fusion Destiny as well. Um, but I definitely love to see Hero Lives on the list, but I don't think it's going to do a whole lot.
I think the Fusion Destiny to 2 is understandable because it's not like getting rid of the card and getting rid of the engine, but it's, like you said, hurting the consistency of it, so you're not going to open it every single hand. Because like decks that really utilize this, like the Invoke deck, like they're opening Fusion Destiny and a Deer Servant every game. Like,
yeah,
it's just insane.
I think the Fusion Destiny to Deer hit was definitely a hedge towards the Invoke decks. I think this was like a package hit because like Phantom Knights, right, don't really care about drawing Fusion Destiny.
Yeah.
A lot of the other combo decks don't really care. They're nice to open, but it's not really like you're trying to open the Fusion Destiny card in the Invoke deck, right? You're trying to open that card instead of sending it off for the opponent, so it definitely makes sense.
Do you think the Circle bringing back to 2, you think that's going to make Salamangreat any more viable, or you think it's going to be about the same?
It definitely helps the consistency of the deck, but like they already have like a million Gazelles anyways. What's another Gazelle going to do, right?
Yeah.
Like the deck has bigger problems than what they can bring off the ban list.
You think Scapegoat's going to change any deck and make it viable again, or you think it's just going to be the same?
I definitely think it helps a lot of rogue decks like Guru and stuff like that. I don't know if it's better than Red Ice Fusion in those decks, but I think Scapegoat's a super powerful card in a slower format, and if we do end up having a slower format, I definitely could see Scapegoat coming to the forefront and being really powerful.
Agree. Moving on to our no longer on the list, I think Endanger Nessie is the only of the 3 that are on the list that can go to 3. I feel like at first anyway, I feel like if they just put all of them back on the list, it would kind of be scary. Or back off the list. I think
all the Dangers could probably come off the list, to be honest.
I don't think this is going to change anything at all.
I think the Dangers, right, whenever they were all at 3, we didn't have cards like Nibiru.
Correct.
And Nibiru just, eats Dangers alive. And
that's true.
Think, I think that it's kind of just being scared of something that they shouldn't be scared of, personally.
You think Darkness Metal changes anything?
I think you still play 1. Like, I hope people don't start putting 3 Darkness Metal in their deck. Like,
it'd be awful.
Yeah.
We got another Pendulum. I think it's been overdue. I don't think this card is gonna meta change the deck in any way. I think this card should have been at 3 a couple lists ago.
I mean, this card's been at 3 and then at 1.
Yeah.
And then at 3 like 5 times. Like, I don't think searching 1 monster for your normal summon is that big of a deal. I also like I said earlier, I think half of the Pendulum cards could come off the list and it literally wouldn't change anything.
Yep. E-Telly to 3, I think everybody knew this was gonna happen. With them printing E-Telly so many different ways, and with the new punk decks that play it.
I think this is a mistake.
I agree. I don't think this is correct really at all. I think it's very dangerous.
Too powerful of a card. With Punk is a powerful engine, regardless of what people think. The whole deck's just 1 card needles, which is pretty crazy. Hackle Fibrax, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Also, we're having this new Geek engine. And the only card we have previewed right now, I believe, is a Psychic. And it gets its effect off E-Telly, so that's probably another reason why they brought it off the list. But I think this card has just caused problems so many times that it's came off the more than 1 that they would think that they should probably leave it at 1. But who knows?
I can already see all the Cosmo people spamming, our deck is back, just because E-Telly is at 3. And it's not. Stop.
Yep.
But Raigeki D3, I don't think this does anything. People are going to play Lightning Storm if they have it. I mean, people will probably play this in their side decks now, like decks that need it. But I
definitely can see a format where like Raigeki is really good, right?
Yeah.
Like
I just
for
don't think it's now.
A long time before Zoo, Darkhold and stuff was terrible, and then randomly, whenever Zoo came out, Darkhold was like a super powerful card again, right?
Yeah, and everybody played My Body's a Shield.
Yeah, like it wouldn't surprise me if a card like Raigeki was like insane, but at the same time, we have Lightning Storm, we have Evenly Matched, we have Darkhold, we have Raigeki, we have Slumber, with all these cards out your opponent's board, like, does it really matter? Probably not.
And last on the list, we have Skill Drain 3. I don't know if I like this or hate this. It's not as pressing as Imperial Order is, because like we said earlier, spell cards are just played in every single deck, and it's the best card type in the game. And Skill Drain only hits like monsters on the board, so it's not like insanely smothering. But I don't even know, like, do you think this is gonna like meta change anything?
I mean, it definitely makes Eldritch a lot better.
Yeah,
I mean,
Eldritch is gonna be more annoying.
like that's pretty obvious, right? Like, Eldritch's problem is they really struggle with going second, and Skill Drain's kind of like another going second card because it could just blank the big board your opponent makes. But at the same time, people have to realize that, like, you know, cards are made differently nowadays. Stuff like Drytron, Virtual World, their effects don't actually activate on field, so those decks don't actually care about Skill Drain. So, you know, that's something to think about.
Yep. Well, that's the ban list. Is there anything you want to add to it? Anything you want to add to the meta you think is going to change, or you think it's gonna, like, you think any deck's gonna pop out or anything?
I think that you'll definitely see more Eldritch decks. I think you'll see more. I think you'll still see Drytron. Like, I think people will automatically see even think the deck is dead. I don't think the deck is dead. I think Bird will definitely decrease, like, majorly, and I think Phantom Knights are going to explode. I think it's probably going to be the most played deck.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with Scythe and Dagger, neither one getting touched. I think Phantom Knights are just going to be. It's going to be the powerhouse of the format. I don't think it's going to be like a shutout format, but.
Well, the Venture 2, you know.
Yeah.
That deck just gets a huge boost.
Yep. I think the two most powerful decks probably are going to be Virtual World and PK. But we'll have to see how the meta evolves.
Yep.
Well, that's the ban list, guys. We appreciate you stopping by. We'll definitely be pumping out some deck lists coming up the next couple weeks. And some tournament wins and stuff. You know how YuGiOh does. But we hope to see you guys input on the ban list. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.